welcome in everybody to the Week 9 College Football Breakdown Show. Haven't got to do, I don't think, any of these this year. So excited to finally get some time to do it. We're going to jump right in. We're going to still go game by game as we have in years past, and just kind of touch on the slate, the main slate for Saturday. If you guys haven't joined us, be sure to check out all of our package options at patreon.com/JagerBombs. We have single sport packages where you can get access for $10 a month. You can get $20 for the all sports package over on Patreon. So be sure to check that out. We're covering tons of sports right now. You've got NBA just came back. NHL just came back. Golf still going on through the fall. NASCAR, a couple weeks left there. College football, of course, every slate. World Series. You've got soccer, college basketball will be back soon. Just everything going on. NFL, of course, right now. So be sure to check us out there. And let's hop right in. Let's knock these things out. I want to go game by game. So, Baylor will go off tomorrow because Eric refuses to play them, possibly. Biggest total on the slate. We'll get there in a little bit, but I think I may have to go back there, Eric, unfortunately. So first game is USF Memphis. Definitely, some news to watch here. You've got South Florida is a 6-point favorite, 58.5 total. So they're implied for 32. Memphis, kind of a quarterback situation. A.J. Hill and Arrington Maiden look like they're going to split time possibly. We'll see. Not really interested on that side of the ball myself, especially at quarterback. I'm not going to try to in the passing game, I'm not interested. I'm not going to try to decipher what they're doing there because I think it might be a mess. On the running back room for Memphis, DeRozier's 7,600. Going to be pretty popular tomorrow. I think he's a really good option. If you look at him, he gets – let's pull up our volume tool here for Memphis. So outside of the quarterback, Brandon Lewis, DeRozier's has came on strong. He's missed some games this year, but you're looking at 11, led the backfield last week, 14 a couple weeks before their bye, and then he had 19 the week before that. So definitely an interesting play there. I think that's probably the best play on the Memphis side of the ball. Byron Brown, I think, is always a good option. We've seen massive upside from him. Keshawn Singleton looks like a very good play. You've got Nimrod, who looks like he's going to be out, which just boosts Singleton pretty high. So I definitely have a ton of interest there. And then Jeremiah Coger is kind of the upside GPP play. He's looked really good. And I think he could have a big day, tomorrow. So Brown to Singleton, and then Coger would be the Varsho bomb, a 2-2 in the World Series. Interesting. Coger, I think, is the GPP pivot off of Singleton, so that's a pretty good look there. That's pretty much where I'm going in that game. You've got Brown, the two receivers, and then DeRozier's on the Memphis side. Ole Miss, Oklahoma. Ole Miss is a 5.5-point dog on the road. Mateer, of course, back. He's not really looked the same since coming back. But, I think he'll continue to get more and more comfortable every week. Satanga looks to be the lead guy for them right now. You could look at Deion Burks as well at 4,500. Seems like a pretty cheap tag for him. But Satanga at 56, I still think it's kind of a GPP only look, but can definitely play him. Don't want to mess with that mess of the backfield. On the Ole Miss side, I've liked Chambliss all year, but tough matchup on the road Some question marks with the receivers there. Lacey seems like he's kind of the workhorse, of course, but again, this is not an easy matchup. So don't have a ton here. Maybe Satanga one-off, maybe a Lacey one-off, but probably not getting to the quarterbacks, and we'll just move along. Kansas State and Kansas, the rivalry game, 3.5-point favorite at home for Kansas, 55.5 total. Definitely some interesting plays here. Avery Johnson, of course, can run. I think this game is a GPP pivot game. If you're not stacking up the Baylor-Cincy game, this could be one where you go Johnson and Daniels. I'm never a guy who hardly plays either one of them. I know they have upside, both with their legs and things, but just not really two teams that I like to stack up, so I don't play a lot of their quarterbacks. Jace Brown, I think, would be my favorite play in this game. He has upside. He can do it on the ground. He can hit a big play through the air, so I don't mind him at 6,500. Joe Jackson with no Dylan Edwards is definitely in play, but, man, he's expensive to me. I don't really have a ton of interest there. So I'll skip over that. Growing, I think I'm saying that right. It's 3,500. If you look at for Kansas now, if you look at his receiving over the last few weeks, had 14 targets last week or 2 weeks ago before their bye. Is that sustainable? Probably not. Let's see. Don't really think that I want to do that. But you could, 3,500, if you're going to tell me somebody's going to get double-digit targets, I'll probably look at going there, but I don't know. I mean, I think that's probably an outlier. So not a ton in this game. Jalen Daniels, definitely an interesting look. If we go to for tournaments, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, you've got Haynes King, probably the best quarterback play on the slate. Don't have any interest in Syracuse. They just kind of look messy to me. Cook has been decent with volume, but Haynes King, definitely like him. He's going to get, 10 rushing touchdowns on the year. You don't have to play him with anybody. If you do, it's Rivers. Looks like Rutherford is out here. Let me zoom in quickly on this. Yeah, Rutherford looks to be out, so I don't have a ton of interest in that. I'm going to zoom through these, some of these games and just kind of talk on the high points. Want to keep these videos pretty short so they're easily watchable back for you guys. So Haynes King, one of the top, probably the top overall quarterback option. It's still only 8,600. They won't really get him up there. This is a game that I love one side of it, and I think, going heavy on it is interesting and maybe leverage what the field's doing here. But UVA is a 10.5-point favorite on the road against an awful North Carolina team. We're going to probably X them out. But for Virginia, you've got an injury. If you zoom in on their receivers, looks like Cam Ross is going to miss, or he is out. So you've got Idreen, who is only 3,700. He's probably going to be the popular choice here. You got Cameron Courtney at only 3K. Those are two really good values. And then you got a GPP tournament pivot of the higher price Trell Harris. So I'm going to look into the targets for UVA really quick recently. Of course, Cam Ross has been involved, but he did go down hurt, looks like last game. So Adrien had 7, Trell had 4, Courtney had 4. I definitely think, we go to this passing game because a lot of people are going to be on Jamari Taylor. I think he's a fine play. He can get involved in the passing game a little bit. But if you look at his massive ownership, around 40%, Chandler Morris is going to be under 10. You pair him up with him and two of these receivers, and I think you can get by with it for sure. He can run some in. You're going to get two guys under 4K, one min price 3K if you're playing Cameron Courtney. I think they put up a ton of points here, kind of bounced back from a slog of what they did last week, just kind of barely pulled one out against Washington State. I think that was last week, hopefully. But I think this offense bounced back. I mean, they've looked really good all year. So I like the pivot to Chandler Morris on that one as well. UCLA, Indiana, one of the better games of the day. I'm probably going to be all on the Indiana side if I go. Mendoza's a fine tournament play at the high price, but I think he's in play. You can play one of the running backs. I honestly may like Kaleon Black a little bit more just because of the ownership on him, and he's $900 cheaper. But Mendoza, Surratt's a fine GPP play. Cooper will be the slightly more popular receiver. He's been the touchdown guy. We saw that huge game for him. So I think you can play both of them. They're going to score points. They're projected for 40. It's just where does it come from? And do you fully stack it up, or you just kind of grab a piece or two and move on? Auburn and Arkansas, you got an interesting spot here. Jackson Arnold seems like he's going to have a pretty short leash at quarterback. But, man, he gets a great matchup going up against an awful Arkansas defense. So I don't mind him, even though he's got the short leash, because, it's one of those situations. If he's playing bad, he's probably already killed your lineup anyway. So if they yank him, oh well. Eric Singleton and Cam Coleman, I think, are very good tournament receivers on the slate. On FanDuel, they're super, super cheap. But even on DraftKings, I think they're in play. Jeremiah Cobb, I think, is maybe one of the top two running back plays on the slate. I'll have, quite a bit of interest in him. And then you would leverage it with one of the receivers if you wanted to go that route. Taylon Green, Omega Blake's a fine stack. You don't have to play Taylon Green. Mike Washington is definitely an okay play there as well at 6,100. Definitely pieces in this game we can go to. Cobb being kind of the top ranked, and then you can, if you're on Auburn, you can leverage the one side. The other way, you've got Taylon Green, who's definitely a really good GPP upside guy. Bama and South Carolina, not going to be on South Carolina at all. If I go to Bama, I don't think I'll get to Ty Simpson. I think it'll be a Jeremy Bernard look. I don't have a ton of interest in this game at all. I think it's kind of slow. Bama wins by a couple touchdowns, and it just kind of slogs to that. But Bernard, I don't have a ton of interest in Ryan Williams either there, but definitely could get there. I don't have any. This South Carolina offense looks horrid right now. Missouri and Vandy, Pavia for Vanderbilt looks like a decent option, 8,500. He seems to get there a lot with his legs. You can pair him up with one of those receivers, Stowers or Richardson. I think would be my favorites. Junior Sherrill's kind of the upside. Can he break a big touchdown? He's the touchdown guy for them. They get him involved in the run game. So I think you could pair him up with Pavia, any of these guys with Pavia. I don't have a ton of interest. Prabula is okay. Don't mind him, but I don't like this really on the road. Kevin Coleman's fairly cheap as well. So I don't hate those guys, but I also don't have a ton of interest in them going on the road to Vandy here. BYU, Iowa State, definitely like some Bear Bachmeier. 6,300, does a ton with his legs. He's going to run it in around the goal line, which kind of takes away from LJ Martin, who's also a good play, but I would not play them together. Bachmeier's the kind of the value quarterback. If you want to say, you don't have to play him with any of those guys. So definitely like him. On the other side, I don't like this matchup. They are favored, Iowa State at home. Don't like the matchup much at all, though. I think if they win, it just is kind of ugly. I don't think they score tons of points. But Beck, we've played some of all year. Soul as well. All those guys are under 4K if you want to grab one. Wouldn't hate it. Hansen looks like he's going to be back, which kind of hurts Sama. And I don't really know what to do with that backfield, so I'll probably just stay away. Here's the game we need to talk about. I'm going to zoom through these last two and get out of here. Baylor, Cincy, 67.5 total. This game is probably going to be super high scoring, and we have to have interest. So Sawyer Robinson, I think you can play any of his receivers. His receivers are probably the best plays on the slate if you're looking at a cash perspective. Josh Cameron, 5,500, just way too cheap. Hawkins, 48, way too cheap. And then Trigg is the GPP play, the tight end, who has massive upside. He looked awful last week. I mean, just dropping balls. They kept going to him, though. So this is definitely the spot, like Eric was saying, we just go back and they just jam Trigg for us, and he breaks one and actually catches the ball this week. But have to like this game a lot. So Robertson, I don't really like the running game for Baylor. Bryson Washington just kind of seems meh so far, and they like to throw the ball with Robertson to these three guys. So a double stack definitely in play. Cole Wilson even got there last week. Kobe Prentice could be your super, low on tournament play. He's got 6 touchdowns on the year. On the Cincy side, Sorsby, really good option as well. One of the top 2 quarterbacks. It's probably him and King in cash games. Pair him up with any of these receivers, but you don't have to. Cyrus Allen, Joe Royer, tight end, Goody, Jeff Caldwell looks like the big upside guy. All these guys are going to be low on. They're all cheap except Cyrus Allen. Can definitely play one of those. Just know that you're probably going to choose wrong. So if you're playing a lot of lineups, it's easier to play these guys. But in single entry or something like that, it's kind of tough to pick one. So maybe you just don't and go with Sorsby and play the double stack on the other side if you're stacking up this game. I think Tawi Walker and Evan Pryor definitely are fine. I would prefer Pryor, even at the $1,000 more expensive. But Walker's the guy who's going to vulture you around the goal line and get that 1 touchdown. Or 2 touchdowns around the goal line and just tilt you. So definitely love this game. Probably like the Baylor side slightly more, but Sorsby's the safer quarterback play at only 7,400. Texas, Mississippi State, definitely some plays here, but not going to go overboard, not stacking this game up or anything. Wisner, I think is fine. Baxter seems like he's going to be back tomorrow. He will play, is the last report I saw. So his projection will probably get bumped up a little bit. Wisner probably down slightly, but definitely some good options here against Mississippi State. I don't hate going back to Wisner, even with Baxter back. Mississippi State side, you got 2 receivers in Brennan Thompson and Anthony Evans, who I think are in play. If you 5,300 and 3,700. Thompson, I prefer at the discount against a fairly tough Texas defense. You've also got Davon Booth in the backfield, who just is the lead guy there. I think he's in play. Probably not picking more than one guy in this game in all seriousness, but that's it for me. Our stack tool, just to show that off a little bit, UVA, Cincy, Georgia Tech, USF at the top of that by a pretty comfortable margin. Again, back to that UVA value stack. If we pivot off the 40% on running back and go to an Adrien, Courtney, Chandler Morris double stack, I think that's a definite play. Cincy, you've got, of course, Royer and Goody are the best projecting double stack with Sorsby, but you don't have to double stack it by any means. For Georgia Tech, we've talked about them against an awful defense. Haynes King playing by himself, but you can also pair him up with some of these cheap receivers. So on FanDuel, which includes the night games a little bit as well, Auburn projects as the best one against an awful defense. So that's an interesting – maybe that's where we play Jackson Arnold, only 8,100, even though if he's got a quick leash or something. But that's going to be it for me today. Good luck to you guys. I'll have my ranks up tomorrow or tonight, and let's get after it tomorrow. Good luck, everybody.